and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. Incitement to violence and terrorism financing. Finnish Nigerian separatist leader Simon Ekpa arrested in Finland alongside 4 others. Nigeria military confirms killing of another notorious terrorist leader identified as Mansour Ya'audu in the northeastern part of the country. Nigerian government on another borrowing spree has Senate approved President Tinubu's $2.2 billion loan request. I am Florence Joshua with these and more. President Bola Tinubu's loan request of $2.2 billion has been approved swiftly by the Senate. We hear the loan is to partially finance the 9.7 trillion naira budget deficit for the 2024 fiscal year. The approval followed the presentation of a report by the Chairman Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, Aliu Wamako, during plenary presiding over the session. Deputy Senate President Jibrin Barrow commended the committee for its swift action and thorough examination of the loan request. In a letter read during the Senate and House of Representatives plenary on Tuesday, Tinubu had explained that the loan was integral to his administration fiscal strategy for the coming year. He further directed the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt to expedite its review of the request and present a report within 24 hours. Although the deadline elapsed on Wednesday, the committee submitted its findings during Thursday's plenary, leading to the loan's approval.
The committee recommends that the Senate approval or Senate for approval for 1. The new Senate borrowing plan of 1.77 trillion naira, equivalent to $2.209 billion at 800 naira US dollar exchange rate, to be raised from Euro bonds, sovereign sukuk, and syndicated loans. Prioritizing a Euro bond issuance up to approved amount. 3. Utilizing.
I commend the chairman of the committee, the Selection Yama of Sokoto, and members of the committee for a job well done. The report is indeed well packaged and well properly articulated. Consider the fact that the job they had to do took them just 24 hours. This should have been something that would have taken longer time. They show sacrifice, you show sacrifice for the interest of the country by working around the clock to make sure that you get everything done. And not only done, but properly done.
Troops of the Nigerian military have confirmed the killing of another notorious terrorist leader identified as Mansour Ya'audu in the northern eastern part of the country during the week. At a press conference this Thursday in Abuja, Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba disclosed that Mansour Ya'audu was killed following well-executed operations of troops on the battlefield in the northeast theater of operation. Let's now join Clearview's defense correspondent Glikoria Atta for details.
As the fight against terrorism and insecurity continues across all 6 geopolitical zones of the country, the Defense Headquarters says its troops have recorded significant successes in the killing of terrorist leaders, commanders and combatants, as well as taking hold of their most important assets, such as logistics, administrative and fighting capabilities. At the Defense Headquarters bi-weekly press conference in Abuja, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, noted that troops neutralized 115 and arrested 238 persons, as well as destroyed terrorist logistics bases and other structures that have affiliation to terror groups during the week under review.
During the week, troops killed a notorious terrorist commander named Mansour Ya'audu in the northeast through well-executed operations, which was intelligence-led As a force, we are targeting the terrorist logistics bases and other structures that are affiliated to these terrorist groups. And during the week, under review, troops neutralized 115 terrorists, thereby decimating their fighting capabilities. We also arrested 238 of them. We arrested 51 perpetrators of crude oil theft during the week, even as we rescued 138 kidnapped hostages as a result of our operations during the week. In the South-South, troops denied the oil theft of close to 1 billion naira worth of crude oil, stolen crude oil. Furthermore, troops recovered 145 assaulted weapons and over 3,800 assaulted ammunition in the course of our operations during the week. The breakdown of the recovered items include 68 AK-47 rifles, 2 AK-56 rifles, and 24 fabricated rifles, among other items recovered. Troops also recovered over 2,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, as well as over 246 rounds of 7.62mm NATO ammunition, and over 300 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, and 51 mobile phones, which are of immense intelligence value.
The defense spokesman added that troops also recorded notable successes in aerial bombardments across different local government areas ravaged by terrorist activities in the northeast and northwest zones of the country.
Air interdiction was conducted on terrorists hibernating at Batana and Nabango Forest in Shinkafi and Zurmi local government areas of Zamfara State, respectively. As you can see on the screen, several of these terrorist presence was confirmed that they were hibernating. Subsequently, the location was acquired and engaged. Similarly, on the 10th of November, air interdiction was conducted in Basari local government area of Katsina State. The strike was carried out in response to a series of intelligence reports of terrorist presence, which was further confirmed by intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. The target was acquired and subsequently engaged. Battle damage assessment revealed several of these terrorists that you see on the screen were killed and their structures destroyed.
The military high command assured citizens that the Nigerian armed forces remains focused, prepared and motivated to win the war against terrorism and other forms of insecurity that have ravaged the country. Gloria Atta, reporting for Clearview News.
Finnish Nigerian separatist leader Simon Ekpa has been arrested in Finland alongside 4 others on suspicion of terror-related activities, including incitement to violence and terrorism financing. According to local publication, Ekpa was remanded in custody by the Pijatham District Court on charges of public incitement to commit a crime with terrorist intent. The publication reported that the Finnish Central Criminal Police confirmed the arrest in a statement on Thursday, noting that the other suspects were apprehended for allegedly financing terrorist activities. The detention demands are related to a preliminary investigation in which a Finnish citizen of Nigeria descent, born in the 1980s, is suspected of public incitement to commit a crime with terrorist intent. The police said Ekpa is accused of coordinating violent actions against civilians and authorities in Nigeria's southeast region from Finland, using social media platforms to further his agenda. The Finnish National Bureau of State investigation disclosed that Ekpa, alongside the other suspects, two of whom reside in Helsinki, face charges of financing terrorism. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has pledged to establish a team of special marshals tasked with conducting periodic unscheduled visits to airports nationwide to evaluate workers' professionalism. This was disclosed in a statement signed by the Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communications, Tunde Moshood. According to Moshood, members of the Special Marshals will be drawn from the media, representatives of state governors, members of non-governmental organizations, and other stakeholders. Announcing the initiative, the minister's aide stated that the development aims to enhance airport hygiene and professionalism while ensuring passenger expectations are consistently met. In an effort to transform Nigeria's mining sector to attract investors and enhance the ease of doing business, Nigeria's federal government has converged key players and stakeholders in the mining sector to its 9th Mining Week in Abuja to share insights, foster partnerships, and explore business opportunities crucial to Nigeria's mining future. The Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, in this closing remarks, said the federal government has cleared all the backlog of titles that have clogged the entire space. Alake disclosed that the mineral sector will become the highest contributor to the gross domestic product in Nigeria before the expiration of his tenure. Clearview News, Imofon Okon has the details.
With Africa's mining sector facing significant challenges, including limited access to safe, sustainable, and efficient mining practices, Nigeria Mining Week, an annual event, serves as a key platform where industry professionals, government officials, investors, and key stakeholders converge to share insights, foster partnerships, and explore business opportunities critical to Nigeria's mining future. With the theme, From the Inside Out, Building the Mining Sector to be the cornerstone of Nigeria's economy, the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, while highlighting the government's effort in repositioning the sector, reaffirmed the sector's potential as a cornerstone of Nigeria's economic diversification agenda.
The platform has provided an opportunity for everybody to learn from each other, to dissect the problems besetting the sector, and most importantly, it also afforded us the opportunity of letting the stakeholders know all about the regulatory framework that we have put in place, especially the policy initiatives that have been yielding very remarkable results in the last 1 year. Because there's no point for someone to have 20 licenses and it's not servicing any. Is not operating any, whereas there are serious investors who want to create something out of the sector who don't have the licenses. So we invoked all the clauses like use it or lose it. If you have a license for a number of years, if you don't use it, you stand to lose it.
This event has been a critical platform for fostering innovation, collaboration, and action.
With the government's policy initiatives, technological advancement, and a focus on sustainability, stakeholders expressed optimism about unlocking the sector's full potential for national development.
The state is partnering with the federal government in an area that we can see that investors will have an ease of doing business in the steel industry. Like in Kogi State, we've created the process of ease of doing business. If an investor comes to the States, you have little to give in terms of tax incentive.
The government must be deliberate that they want Ajaokuta to work. There is the issue of raw materials, adequate utilization, or even mining of raw materials. Raw materials, particularly the iron ore, limestone, and even coking coal, which are abundant in the country, are not adequately mined. And even when they are mined, they are rather exported rather than utilized for the purpose in the country.
Now, it's also important that we all decouple the issues in context here. Iron ore is not steel. And iron ore does not translate to steel for infrastructure. There is a midstream. And if you don't bring that midstream into context, you will miss the whole idea of steel becoming development and development becoming steel, and then the consumption of steel being the basis of checking your industrial goods.
Heavy, and the minister has a 7-point agenda. And policy-wise, we need to be able to now develop a growth and development of the sector. It does not just talk about the ministry, it talks about the entire sector. And these are feedback mechanisms from you, the stakeholders, to make it much better.
With its newfound prominence, Nigeria's solid mineral sector appears poised to fulfill its long overdue potential, marking a new chapter in the country's economic narrative. Imefon Okon, reporting for Clever News.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Donoma Umar Ahmed, has welcomed Dr. Malik Usman, Singapore's Minister in the Prime Minister's Office and Second Minister of Education and Foreign Affairs, to Abuja in a significant diplomatic engagement this Thursday. The meeting held at the ministry marks an essential step in fostering cooperation between Nigeria and Singapore. This visit underscores the commitment of both nations to deepen bilateral relations, exploring opportunities for mutual growth and development. Dr. Malik Usman's visit is expected to focus on strengthening economic ties, educational collaborations, and strategic partnerships between the two countries. As Singapore's Second Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Usman has been instrumental in promoting regional cooperation and advancing Singapore's interests globally.
Singapore and Nigeria will commemorate the 55th anniversary of our diplomatic relations next year, and this is timely for us to take stock of the status of our relationship, our bilateral relationship, and look at new areas of growth and opportunities for us to bring our relationship to greater heights after 55 years. We have a very warm relationship, and one of the key tenets of our relationship is our economic ties. Nigeria and Singapore have very strong economic ties, and Nigeria is Singapore's 4th largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa. And our trade in goods have amounted to about over 500 million Singapore dollars in goods, and our bilateral trade in services is worth about 1.3 billion Singapore dollars in 2022. Nigeria continues, as mentioned by the Permanent Secretary, to be a very attractive destination for Singapore companies. As at end 2022, Singapore companies have invested over $4.5 billion into Nigeria, and these companies have strong interest in Nigeria's agribusiness, oil and gas, transport and logistics, and infrastructure sectors. So
Nigeria's federal government, led by Ambassador Ahmed, has expressed commitment to leverage Singapore's expertise in areas such as trade, investment, and human capital development. This diplomatic engagement is anticipated to yield tangible outcomes, enhancing the existing relationship between Nigeria and Singapore.
In our discussions, we just looked at the relationship that is existing between Nigeria and Singapore and areas of collaborations that we've had. And we looked at the technical assistance that has been offered by the Singaporean government to Nigerians in areas of capacity building, that the trade relations existing between us, and emphasize the need to further escalate the relationship existing between the two countries, and also to strengthen the economic and trade relations that is existing between us generally. And of course, also we commended the economic sphere in Nigeria in terms of contributing to our GDP and job creation, and also informed them that the present government of President Ahmed Bola Tinubu is diversifying the economy more into non-oil areas like mining, agriculture, renewable energy, tourism, and the rest of them, and also called on our guests to invite more companies that are interested in those areas, that have capacities and the technology to come and invest, because Nigeria is now a bright in investment sector.
Nigeria and Singapore have maintained diplomatic relations since 1965, cooperating in trade, education, infrastructure, healthcare, and tourism. Recent developments in this relationship include $1.5 billion investment in oil and gas in 2020 and Tourism Cooperation Memorandum of Understanding signed in 2022 with potential for growth in technology, innovation, and education. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us.
We break the news.
This is Christ Embassy.
Recollect, we were the first to break this. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State has approved the appointment of 3 second-class emirs. And this?
Erasmus is the most successful program of the European Union to support education and youth.
And this?
Fubara is not an ungrateful person.
And more.
Tension is currently mounting in Rivers State. The planned arraignment of Yaya Bello.
Across our platforms. Subscribe now and you will be receiving our notifications and never left out as the news breaks on Clearview.
Welcome back. Women living with disabilities said despite Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, that emphasize the need for equitable and inclusive approaches in all aspects of development, they are still faced with discrimination and barriers on a daily basis that restrict them from participating fully in governance on an equal basis with others. Some of them who spoke with Clearview News correspondents said their disabilities cannot stop them from bringing out their potentials, hence the need for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to give equal opportunity to women living with disabilities to participate in his administration. The reports.
For years, people living with disabilities have been denied key positions in governance. Persons with disabilities in Nigeria persistently face stigma, discrimination, and barriers to accessing basic social services and economic challenges. In spite of their challenges, many of them have remained resolute towards changing the narrative. In an exclusive interview with Clearview News crew, some women living with disabilities said they have all it takes to participate equally in governance and contribute their quota to nation building. Hence the call for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to appoint women living with disabilities into key positions. They said it is very clear that no woman living with disability is appointed either as a minister or into other key positions.
My key focus would always be the Disability Rights Act. There should be more implementation of it. It doesn't have to be a grandiose thing. We can start from the very little provisions that the Act already has, implementing them in our society, because Nigeria has amazing acts and policies, but there's no implementation. So I'll say that there should be implementation moving forward.
Presently, the present government have appointed some people to occupy some ministries, but women with disabilities have not been elected, have not been appointed to occupy any position. So we want the government and also the public to know that yes, we have a disability, but our disability will not stop us from bringing out our potentials. We have great potentials. It's only my leg that's been affected, but my brain is not affected.
Person with disability must be included in everything being done in the country in the area of health system. When you talk about health system, they should be able to access health system. In the area of also education, many persons with disability and marginalized because of poverty, they won't be able to go to school. But if they have a provision that the person that has a disability, that has interest, can be able to be supported, they can go to school. And also person who are already skilled, or who are doing one business or the other, who need to be supported or who need to be funded. These are also areas you can also help a person with disability.
It's still the same thing like I always say. They should make it inclusive for everybody, and they should make it worthwhile. Why we that live with disability, we should be able to at least be independent in our own way. So that's the only thing that I have been advocating for all this while, and I'm still advocating for it. It should be inclusive. Like me as a wheelchair user, there should always be ramp so that it will be easy for me. So that they will not be carrying me, you know.
Although the governments of Nigeria, both at the federal and state levels, have taken some steps to address the needs of persons with disabilities, some significant steps came in January 2019 with the ratification of the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Prohibition Act 2018. But implementation is yet to materialize. Observers say government has not done enough for these special citizens. Imefon Okun reporting for Clever News.
And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. Finnish Nigerian separatist leader Simon Ekpa has been arrested in Finland alongside 4 others on suspicion of terror-related activities, including incitement to violence and terrorism financing. Troops of the Nigerian military have confirmed the killing of another notorious terrorist leader identified as Mansouriya Audu in the northeastern part of the country during the week. President Bola Tinubu's loan request of $2.2 billion has been approved swiftly by the Senate. You can follow up on latest events and happenings around you via our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Clearview News Dex, or via our handle on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Clearview Online. Many thanks for watching. I am Florence Joshua. Bye for now.